Welcome back to the Irish Independence League of Ireland review, joined tonight by Dan McDonnell live from Skopje in North Macedonia, where there was a late heartbreak for Shelbourne. I'm here at Tallaght Stadium. It's just finished. Shamrock Rovers 0, Celje 2. And Dan, it wasn't a night to remember for the two League of Ireland clubs in the Conference League this evening. But I might start with your game in Skopje. A game I suppose Shelbourne will feel they could have took 3 points from, and they go home this evening empty-handed.
Yeah, I think you can look at, I think for both the teams, I think you can, the way the Conference League is structured, there's a couple of games you can win. There's a couple of games where, it's maybe you can win. And then there's a couple of games where you're probably going to be really up against it. I think probably you look at tonight overall, Shelbourne were playing one of the games you can win. Shamrock Rovers have probably ended up, Celje might have been in the you can win category, except I think they're a very strong team at the moment, as other results show. And look, that's probably a tougher draw, and all these hypotheticals, you kind of wonder how Rovers might have got on with some of the early game Shells have and so on. But look, that's just talking around it here. I think the frustrating thing for Shelbourne is that against Shendike, they're up against a team who are not, by the standards of this competition, a good side. They're not, you're not a team where you lose to them and you have that sense of, oh well, look, how can you compete? Look at their resources. It's not like that, and that's what makes it hard to take, because this was such a great opportunity for them. Stadium isn't intimidating, not a great pitch, but Shells were well in the game. And it was a game where if they'd played well and shown a little bit more, maybe incision at times, just been a bit more assertive, I think it's a game that they very much could have won. Again, always make with and the sort of the leap that they've taken versus sort of not patronising them by judging them by sort of low standards. And I think for Shells, from a position where they have an attacking free kick with 2 minutes to go, very bad luck to lose Sean Boyd to injury, bad luck to be down a man in the box. That's fair enough for the set piece, but I guess look, to concede Milan and Ben give away a corner under no pressure. Joey O'Brien said there was almost too many shouts. He just got in a muddle. He thought there was someone there when there was no one there. And then, I guess Paddy Barrett stuck a bit deep defending the corner. There's a couple of chances to clear it. It's an own goal. And look, how far they've come, everyone's very much aware of that. But I think they want to be judged by a higher standard here. And it's a bit of a collapse, really. And they go home with nothing. And it's a tough one. It's very likely this is going to cost them later in the year.
And did the vibe from Joey O'Brien post-match and the players kind of sum up that feeling? They know what was on the line tonight?
I think it's realistic enough afterwards. And they probably had to stress maybe some little bits of bad luck. There was a John Martin header that came back off the post, and again, they've all their subs made, and Sean Boyd has been sort of luckless as a sort of a free calf injury from, again, an attacking dead ball. You're thinking, can they go and win this game? And maybe just give them a bit of momentum. And in fairness to Shendike, their coach even was saying, the questions afterwards was well, we didn't even play, we can play better. And almost a sense they were looking at the Hacken Rayo Vallecano result. Hacken have drawn tonight against Vallecano, and it just shows probably on the opening night, Shells were probably okay. They're playing a decent side, and we've in the preview it was clear they had to make the most of these games. Shells. This is not a game that was an insurmountable task, and ultimately they have, as Joey O'Brien said, they've let it slip. They let a massive opportunity slip, and I don't think you can. I think they're good enough to be judged by a higher bar, and I think. They fell well short of that, and I guess not just. I was a little bit disappointed at times. I thought they weren't assertive enough, maybe to go and win the game. But I know the pitch was maybe quite heavy, and it's very easy to say it from the cheap seats. They just didn't really convince enough. They weren't maybe good enough to win the game, but they shouldn't have lost it.
Well, Shelbourne come home from North Macedonia empty-handed, and there was nothing. There was no points for Shamrock Rovers in this game tonight, Dan. Obviously, there was a bit of a war of words. Albert before the match turning up the heat on this game, but it was his side that did the talking on the pitch. Rovers started quite okay. First half an hour, there really wasn't too much in the game at all, but it was 2 goals in 7 minutes from Kovacevic after his earlier goal was ruled offside. One was a moment of brilliance. Two, the second goal, Rovers be absolutely raging with the manner of the concession, crossed the back post, knocked back across, the goal scorer unmarked on the line, and there'd be real regrets over that concession. I have to say now, Shamrock Rovers was much better after the break, came out fresher, came out with more energy, but just couldn't find that kind of killer edge in front of goal. Rory Gaffney working really hard up front, but just you just feel like Shamrock Rovers midfield players, we didn't see the best of them tonight. Dylan Watts, a few uncharacteristic misplaced balls. Tough night for Conor Malley. Came off in the hour mark. Didn't make the impact he would have liked. The experience of Graham Burke and Liam Grace, I suppose, coming on midway through the second half, added a bit of energy into Shamrock Rovers, but they were just off it, and I think they'll be really disappointed as you said, Celje are vastly improved team to this time last year when they would have met last year. But I think this is a game they definitely would have expected to take a point in. And as I said, the first goal, moment of brilliance. Second goal, they'd be really raging in the manner of that concession.
Yeah, I think just the problem is the bigger picture is where are they going to get the points now? Like if people talk about 7 points to go through, look, this was a tough fixture to land. There is no doubt. But I suppose to do something big in this competition, eventually, like someone needs to spring out there and pull a result from somewhere. And you look at Celje to beat Athens in the first game. Athens beat Aberdeen 6-0 tonight at home in Greece. Now, I think they're probably a different proposition at home than they are away. And Rovers have to go there 3 days before a cup final. And naturally, they want to win the double, and that's going to be a legacy achievement. But then there's a real chance that this whole campaign that they worked so hard to get to could slip away from them. Shakhtar Donetsk at home after that, who've lost tonight, so maybe they're going to be pretty motivated. And sure, they have 2 games in December they can win, but 6 points, it's that would be hard. So they're going to have to in one of these games. I mean, I look at like Lincoln Red Imps, Gibraltar, they beat Lech Poznan tonight. Like you need to sort of, for a team from a smaller league at some point to make it a really great campaign, you need to like produce something, beat a team. And I know Rovers did that to beat Santa Clara to get here. But I don't know, it's just funny, like they've lost a couple of games in the league. Their season's in a bit of a funny place at the moment, because it's almost like they have these games, a few injuries to key players, and I don't know, they've lost a bit of momentum. Like they felt like they had a real bit of momentum in the summer, and they've almost won the league so early, and then it's become a bit scattered and stop-start, and it's strange, Look, listen, in time, if they have a double one, right, the legacy of the year will be secure. But I guess I thought that they had a chance to make this a really special year by matching it with something in Europe. But it may well be that in Europe that it's just hard for them to fully to see it out. I felt they needed a point tonight, or they're going to have to do something in one of the next 2 games, or otherwise it's very hard to see them being involved after Christmas. And really, I think for Shells as well, I mean, that's to sum it up. I think the prospect of either club, you would say, being involved after Christmas now, the chances have reduced significantly today.
Well, it was definitely a disappointing night for the 2 League Ireland clubs in Europe. For Shelbourne and Shamrock Rovers, they return to league action this Sunday, where of course Shamrock Rovers could be crowned champions, and Shelbourne face a massive Dublin derby at Dalymount Park in the race for Europe. And the next Conference League round is in 2 weeks' time then. So Dan, we'll leave it there. Safe home from North Macedonia. And you can follow all the latest League of Ireland reaction to tonight's European games with the Irish Independent. Thanks for watching.